give you thanks, O God, for this community in which we live and grow and learn, and for our ability to grow in our faith. May you be with our leaders this evening as they plan ways for our community to work together, and give them your wisdom as we find ways to strengthen our community. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the package, you have the minutes from the meeting of January 5th. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second? Second. Any comments, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Meeting reports.
I think we're good right now with public safety. Let's
Meeting tomorrow.
That's a good description, safety's good. Street?
But no comment at this time. We dodged the bullet so far with the bad weather. We haven't had to try out the snow plows yet. We're hoping that it makes the committee look really bad for purchasing the, we're getting ready with this, okay? But because we don't get that weather, but we are prepared if we have snow in the forecast. Otherwise, we're in good shape.
The good Boy Scouts report.
We're prepared.
Finance?
Finance. We just had a finance meeting, we didn't spend any money. Speak of. The individual departments will report on that. What I guess the main thing we need to say is, dollar-wise, we are July through December on one sales tax number one. We're running $18,000 behind, and on sales tax number two, $19,000, a little over behind on the income side of things. So we just have to watch. You know, Diane's doing a good job. These department heads are wanting to, you know, spend some money, buy a vehicle here, there, and yonder, and whatever. And so, while it's still in the budget, she's trying to make sure that we have the cash in the bank before we go ahead and spend the money. So, which is the one thing that we've failed to do some in the years past. It was a budgeted item. Somehow it got ordered, and whether the money was actually in the bank at the time. And so all we're trying to do is hold on to and keep everything in line. So I give credit to Diane for that, because she's actually got her hand in the purse every day and knows where we are. But while we're running a little bit behind, we're also doing quite well in being able to maintain the standards that the city needs to operate its business. So if there's any questions, I'll be trying to answer them. But
Mayor, can we back up for a second to the street department?
Yes, sir.
Street committee. Noel's got a report on the St. Francis Street Committee.
Wayne has worked at getting in touch with the businesses along the St. Francis Street area, and we've got replies back from them. What we're looking at doing is going with like a drivable curve type design down through there, replacing all that. So what I kind of need some guidance on is the design that we originally went with from Skelton is not that type of design. So we need to go back to the drawing board as far as getting some drawings done of what we're actually wanting and getting some dollar ideals of what we're looking at. And so I just need to, I guess, get approval to be able to move forward and do that. In case it was to cost us some money, I don't know. We just have to pursue it with Skelton and see.
Well, you have to redraw the whole plan. for that?
See, I don't know. We'll have to get with him and ask him what that entails. That's why I don't know. I can ask him and bring back some more information if you want before we move forward with that. But that's kind of where we're at this point. Is we've got a design in mind that we hope will actually be cheaper and save money. The community's for it. They like the ideal. So just kind of getting some plans together and dollar amounts together to kind of know where we stand. So
Is this a flatter curve, is that what it is?
it basically would replace. I mean, what?
What we looked at is, at our last meeting, Randy was talking about how, when we had our meeting, he was gonna get to each business an 18-foot entrance, and that was it. It'd have a hard curb, elevated sidewalk, and so every business from Fox Conoco down to the four-way would lose a large portion of their parking. If you look at any of them, in front of Life Store, in front of, National Cleaners, all of them need or use the front of their buildings as part of their parking, okay? So what we talked about is having some sort of drivable curb / ditch that's for the water drainage, a sidewalk that is level, but it's not elevated, so you can drive over it up onto your property. That way nobody loses, like my renters, if we went with Randy's design when he had it up, they would have 0 parking in front of their building. I would lose all of it, because I would get one 18-foot entrance into my lot. And so, and a lot of the others were gonna be in the same same boat. So, what I took out and talked with each one of the landowners with, there's still a couple I haven't heard from, but every single one that has talked back with me have said, we want all the way across the front, a drivable curb, a level sidewalk that you can drive up and over and into our property. That way you can utilize the entire front, like what's being done now. And then make sure that the sidewalk that will be there will be behind where vehicles are parked, so that the sidewalk is not obscured. I know for a couple of the people's properties, they may have to go to a parallel parking, but that's better than not having no parking in front of the buildings. And so that's what we've been talking with them about. And one of the things with looking at the drawings that we've seen, I'm not a blueprint person, but a couple of you in here, I can probably throw up an x-ray and you can read the x-ray, but most of you, you're gonna say, that's an x-ray. For me, I can look at a blueprint and say, well, that's blue ink on white paper, that's a blueprint. So to actually say what those are, we're just going off the recommendations that Randy Carter gave us at our last meeting, which was the 18-foot entrance. And for all the businesses down through there, nobody wants that, because it would destroy most of their parking. And so,
I agree with you on the concept of total access, but I wonder, can we not deviate, why do we wanna have a sidewalk that's a driveway?
well, you would drive over it. You're not gonna park on it.
But I mean, why does not have a parking area, and let them walk through the parking area?
Because we wanna have someplace for all the wheelchairs and everything, everybody that's walking can walk from Fox Conoco out to Town and Country Grocery Store without being interrupted.
If you have a solid curved or uncurbed, like hard surface that goes all that way, can they not get there?
Sure.
Because, I mean, if you got just a contoured drainage, I mean, that tells me you've got access with
drainage.
the wheelchair, power chair, whatever else, but I don't see why I wanna build a sidewalk,
In the middle of it.
in the middle of a parking area or
Our
driveway.
question would be ADA.
I bet
Yeah,
it's required.
yeah, it's just something we're gonna have to check out. I mean, all this
I'll
is,
bet you got to have it.
yeah, all this is part of the
And seeing our
problem.
deadline is April 1st, that's why we're trying to,
Okay.
get as much as we can without having this one question come back in 2 weeks. That if we can get a little bit of leeway with going and talking with Mr. Skelton and say, this is what we want. Do we have to have an ADA sidewalk, or does, 10 foot of a fairly level asphalted, concrete, whatever we're going with, space that is a solid, secure spot to walk, wheelchair, is that secure enough?
Maybe it can be
Probably
marked
if
with
it's
things,
delineated
Yeah.
well enough,
right,
probably
well,
can.
as long as we mark it, so it might be all it takes, so that's.
It'd be like it'd be cheaper to go that way, wouldn't it go
Yeah,
down?
But that's what we gotta find out.
that'd be a whole lot cheaper if we just went down through there with, have a nice smooth blacktop area, and then just went straight down with some, good old yellow tape. And, I know the first day they'll get a whole lot done, second day they'll get a little less done, cause that paint game gets far away. But,
Anyway, I'm being devil's
But yeah, no,
advocate,
it's-
but I just,
that was one aspect we hadn't thought of, and that's because we thought might probably had to have, that sidewalk in there. But if we don't, it would save the city a lot of money too.
Well,
And
this
just-
is a question for Nets.
Mhm.
You're switching from a curb and gutter to basically a
A
straight
gutter.
Continue.
gutter.
Yeah,
Stormwater becomes a concern.
right,
You're gonna have to carry the water out of there, and
right,
you don't have that curb there to help control that water.
right.
So you talk to him, make sure that
we have it curved though, if we have it.
Yeah, if you have a good dished out area, and coming off of St. Francis, you will have to slow down, just like you would for any other curve. But having a nice dished, gutter style curve that's a couple inches deep, will make a good runoff, because you'll get the runoff from the city, from the street, you'll get the runoff from the properties, and then you're gonna be able to, okay, here's the high point, here's drainage, or here's one, exit, here's the other exit, so here's the high point, and then you're able to slope it, that curb part, all the way to those drainage, and get it flowing in those directions.
What they've done on Jones Street at the corner of Hastings and also at Seventh Street is a good example of what I think we would end up with out there on St. Francis, because they've just made a slow contour, but they got really good drainage there.
And it's where at?
At Seventh Street and
Okay.
Jones Street,
Alright,
you know, they've gone in and cut, there used to be almost a speed bump dip there.
okay,
And they've made that really nice, and likewise when they replaced all that down there at Hastings.
okay. Well, I'll have to go
on
take a look
Jones
at that.
Street, because, I mean, you gotta slow down, but it's just a nice, smooth transition going through there.
Okay.
You said something about deadline is April 1st, is that for the grant writing?
That's for the grant writing. And so, because if we don't get it this April 1st, we've got to wait an entire year till next April 1st.
Yeah.
And so it'd be nice to, get the grant sent in this April 1st, and if we get approved, the money's available, I think she said, end of July, 1st of August. Somewhere through there for your first section.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll support you.
Chambers?
You want me to talk about it? Basically, all I have is, earlier this week, I remembered that the next tax-free weekend is coming up in April, so I asked Diane if ordinance had officially been approved yet, and she didn't think that it had, so I wanted to bring that up. That if we were going to participate in the sales tax holidays, we need to go ahead and get that ordinance approved. I looked up the days, it has to be approved within 40, or turned into the Department of Revenue 45 days ahead of the actual holiday. If one is presented at the next meeting and then approved at the March 1st meeting, it will get there just in time. If you need me to refresh you on that whole process, I will.
If the council wants the ordinance, we could have it ready and pass it at the next meeting.
Okay.
If that's, one month.
What does that impact?
So, there's two sales tax holidays that the state of Missouri observes. The one in April is called Show Me Green Sales Tax Holiday. It will be between April 19th and April 25th. That is on the sales of qualifying Energy Star certified appliances, so washers and dryers, refrigerators, things of that matter. The price cap per item is $1,500 per item. You can buy as many items as you want, so if you wanted to redo your whole kitchen, you go up to $1,500 per item. There are also freezers, heat pumps, all during that weekend, April. In August, we have one that people are more familiar with, which is the back-to-school holiday. That's going to be the weekend of like April 5th through 7th this year, where people get sales tax breaks on clothing items under $100, computer items, and paper goods, back-to-school type items. During that weekend, it's not blocking out your sales tax on all items, so your groceries, dog food, things like that, you're still going to be collecting sales tax on those. But when we conducted our survey in September 2014, it was widely suggested by our community that we participate because people found that When other communities chose to participate in a sales tax holiday, they went to the other communities to get those price breaks. Like if you were going to redo your whole kitchen in April, and you could get a 10% discount by going to Poplar Bluff, that's probably what people would do. So it would be really great if people could do their shopping here and participate in that.
Okay, I will be the first to say that over time, I have been pretty much opposed to giving up the sales tax, because in the past, we've been so strapped to, hand them out, so to speak, all the time, on how much money we had coming in and how much we need to put out. But I think, I'd be willing to give it a try, to see what impact it has on the sales tax income for that period.
Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion?
We're gonna lose them to another city anyway. I'd
Yeah,
rather
exactly.
support our merchants with it.
Well, they
like
may
what
buy
you said.
something else while they're in town.
That's right. So,
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll have the ordinance next meeting. We can pass it then, since we've already discussed.
That's gonna be for the April and the August?
Yes.
I can have the ordinance ready for both.
Okay.
The only other thing I have is everyone knows that Noranda faced a major layoff recently. The Missouri Workforce Center is hosting a job fair for those people in Sykeston this Friday. I will be attending that job fair on behalf of anyone from Kennett who has jobs and will not be able to go. So if any employers here in town have jobs open that they would like to have advertised, I will take the materials with me. They just need to let me know by Thursday, and I can come collect them from their businesses if that's necessary. And they need jobs all the way from clerical to laborers. And keep in mind that these people may potentially go back to college. So if you have jobs, especially in the medical field, that require training, they're going to be able to get training. So it might be attractive to them. And there are people from Kennett affected, so we're going to try to help them. And that's all I have. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Human resource?
We still working on the, input.
We are.
Human resources is good.
You're good tonight. Mr. Carter's not here. Public safety?
A couple of things. You have in your packet several reports. We did the insurance service office survey today with the gentleman, and felt pretty good when they left. They changed a lot of the criteria. In fact, there's a way to get extra points, and I think he kind of let us believe that out of the 5 points possible, that we would gain at least 4.5 of those. So we won't know nothing for probably a 6-month period, but felt a little confidence about some of the things he had to say, and we'll be completing that. There'll be a few other things he may request or whatever. The police department had gotten a grant from MIRMA for the non-lethal pepper ball guns, and had 2 opportunities to have to use those. Both cases, individuals got into an attic, and looking back a couple years ago, an officer in Jonesboro was shot going up into the attic at a disadvantage. That the perpetrator was in the attic, had a gun, the officer going up. In this case, the first incident, they basically ordered him out, and they told him they were going to shoot a pepper ball gun. When he didn't come out, they shot it about 3 or 4 times, and wasn't too much later, he come down through a closet in another room where there's another hole. And in fact, the officers told me that he didn't fight, didn't resist, he turned around and put his hands in position, and they cuffed him. The second incident, they advised the individual to come out. He wouldn't come out. They told him they were going to fire the pepper ball gun, and when they got ready to do it, he decided it was better off to come down the easy way rather than the alternative, tear gas. So these are the type of tools that we're seeing, non-lethal, but you don't have to put your officers in harm's way when there's an arrest to be done. So it was a great grant that we got, these 2 guns, two officers went to the training, they trained the other officers, and the whole program as it was designed has worked twice now. So, that was a good grant and good training that the officers received, and hopefully can be used in a positive manner. I want to talk about one other thing that it's kind of a hidden hero DARE program that's going on now in schools. And when you think about it, Mark Blankenship is the DARE officer. But the unique thing about it is he's paid by the school to do the DARE program. He has a passion for it. He goes to the DARE conference. He's one of the part-time officers. And when he goes and does the program, he doesn't take an officer off the street. And so it's what, about a 10-week program, Johnny? In the schools, about an hour or two a day, a lot of positive results. And so the unique thing about it is it's not really a big budgeted item for us, and it doesn't take an officer off the street to go to the schools, and hopefully if we get one kid out of all of them that learns something, it's worth it. So Mark has taken it on, he has passion for it, and he's done an excellent job in that manner. And if you see him in the halls or you know him, tell him thanks. Because sometimes just telling someone thanks for what they do means a whole lot to them. Had a resignation of Brandon Moore for the police department. He's going to the sheriff's, Duncan County Sheriff's Office as a deputy. I have, we'll talk about it later in closed session, have some recommendations for possible officers. And some of these are a result of what we heard earlier, layoffs at Miranda. People are looking for jobs that have been police officers prior. Your monthly police report is there with the statistics, and the Kennett Humane Officer report's there. And she has a report on what they've done throughout the year, the cost estimates. There's a monthly report and also an end-of-year report. They're reporting on a property maintenance. We went to the grant meeting with Mrs. Baker, and we had some high hopes. There was going to be some, there are some grants for demolition. However, the glitch of it is knowing that some people don't have the funding. That's the reason we have houses still standing. Part of the grant is the property owner has to pay a certain percent towards the demolition. We got word today through an email that the grant will not, what we looked at is even if the city paid it on part of the homeowner to get the property removed, it would reduce our cost. And we could take that cost that we had to pay, I think it was $1,000, as I recall. Most times it's taking about $3,000 to remove property, so we cut the cost in 1/3. That could then go back to the property's tax bill. What we learned today is we can't do that. It has to be property participation. With that, I think the few property owners that, and the total time on the grant, probably not going to be in our best interest to invest the time into it. Because, we was hoping to maybe get some assistance in that manner, but I just don't see where it's going to be profitable by the time we do all the background check, and you have to get the owners involved in a bunch of it to agree to it, and I just don't think it's really going to be worth the time and effort for the code enforcement office at this point in time. We'll continue to search for grants. He does have the next round of title searches done. He's sending out the proper notices, and probably here in the next month we'll have another hearing for those property owners and be proceeding along with some additional properties. Is there any questions on anything? You also have the yearly tow sheet that shows the 5 tow companies, and I will point out that the elite did not come into business until about June. So when you see the zeros up there, January through May of 2015, They weren't in business yet. And little explanation, the NIL is next in line, and the OR line is someone who owners requested a specific record service. Okay? Johnny, you have anything? You have anything? Thank you.
Any old business, employee handbook, you want to comment on?
Talk
On progress?
about that at human, under human resource.
Any opposition is still in progress, so you really don't want to make your choices yet? Okay. Ordinance approving rezoning.
We've already done.
Yeah, we did that
I don't know
last
how, this is not, yeah.
That's January 19th, it's
I
January.
redid the agenda, but I guess I didn't save it. Sorry about that.
Any new business, city abstract?
No.
We did that last.
Scratch the hoop. Nothing to report from the mayor's chair, we will have a short closed meeting.
Well, I've got a couple things, since we got a different agenda, I guess I can still bring these up. In the finance committee, we talked about some issues at the airport. We've got a replacement beacon that's required out there. It's not functioning right now, and FAA frowns on that. The cost maybe as much as $5,600. They got some other prices, but that would be the best one. And that's one item. Well, I'm gonna go ahead. The finance committee recommend that we do that, take it out of capital improvement account. So I'll make a motion to replace that beacon at $56, or allow $5,600 to replace that beacon.
I'll second that.
Given your expertise at the airport, that's probably good.
If you want some nice flying done.
Yeah.
And
A
instant
motion
flying.
is second to replace the beacon at the airport.
And I know it's not a budgeted item, but I think the exigent circumstance comes into play here.
Only if you wanna fly at night.
Yeah.
Poor instrument weather.
Gonna land at night, you can fly just fine.
And we're getting a lot more traffic out there because of our fuel, so.
Any other discussion, got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very much.
The second item was that, when we have a lot of aircraft come in there and want to be fueled up, and as a result, they end up dragging the hoses here, there, and concrete is quite abrasive when you're dealing with rubber or fabric, whatever, and so they've asked us for some reels to wind the hose up on, to save wear and tear on it, at a cost of $3,000 each. They want more than one, but the finance committee has recommended that we give them one at this time for $3,000, and then wait until the new budget year to get the other. So I'll make a motion, we provide an additional $3,000 for.
Second.
Second.
Is that money coming out of capital improvements
Yes.
as well?
And it's also an insurance requirement. It's not just, our insurance
Yeah,
recommended that we change it.
Insurance, they don't like to see the braid sticking through the rubber on a hose or the wire.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anyone else have anything else to bring up? Motion to close session?
Motion.
Second.
It's not on here either. Oh, there it is. Excuse me, public comment. Anyone like to address the council?
He's already been up there.
My only question is, did we get permission or not? Go to Mr. Kelly.
Oh, yeah, do it.
Getting a price. Yeah.
All right.